Hey everybody, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Spates saga, which you can check out on Amazon if you like to read good books. Otherwise, let's talk about movie news. And today we've got some interesting news, to say the least. This basically comes to us via comicbook.com, and it is news concerning a spin-off to the classic cult movie The Big Lebowski. Now, if you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, what are you waiting for? It's like one of the greatest movies ever. But it's this movie that has kind of almost become transcendent in pop culture in the sense that, it was not like a huge movie when it was released, but pretty much everyone has kind of seen it and adopted it, and it's become like this memeable movie that just everyone can kind of quote, and you know what movie they're talking about. And that's the sign of a movie that's a true classic. And I do believe that The Big Lebowski is a classic. It's hilarious. It's got great characters. It's got an interesting story. It's vintage Coen brothers. Like if you're a Coen brothers fan, you've seen The Big Lebowski, you probably love it. And if you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, you have been living under a rock because you need to see that movie. Anyway, the Coen brothers aren't really known for doing sequels to their movies. I don't think they've ever done a sequel to any of their movies. But we're getting a kind of semi-sequel to The Big Lebowski in the form of a spinoff. And this article here, it says, Jesus Rolls, The Big Lebowski spinoff set to hit theaters in early 2020. And here are the details on this article. It's been more than 20 years since the Coen brothers' cult classic film The Big Lebowski was released in theaters. And in that time, many of the characters from the caper have cemented their legacies in Hollywood iconography. Jeff Bridges' The Dude and John Goodman's Walter will be the first to come to mind with movie fans, but trailing not far behind is pedophile bowler Jesus Quintana, played by John Turturro. The character is an absolute scene stealer during his short time in the movie, so much so that he's getting his own spin-off movie, Jesus Rolls. Written by, directed, and starring John Turturro, Jesus Rolls will tell a new story featuring the cult character offering a look at what he's been up to in the years since The Big Lebowski. On Monday morning, Screen Media announced that it had acquired the North American distribution rights to the movie and planned to release it in theaters in early 2020. The Coen brothers aren't involved in the spinoff, but they reportedly gave their blessing to Turturro. We go through a list of the people who are involved here, and then it says, it feels like a good time to release a transgressive film about the stupidity of men who try and fail and try better to understand and penetrate the mystery of women, Turturro said in a statement. I look forward to working with Screen Media and bring our work and the character of the Jesus to American audiences. It's an honor to be working with John Turturro again, Seth Needle, SVP of Worldwide Acquisitions at Screen Media said in a statement. His passion for storytelling and character building is unparalleled, so it goes without saying that people should be excited for the Jesus. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, and I don't quite know where to start. First of all, the character of Jesus Quintana is a convicted pedophile. Let me just reiterate that. The main character of this movie, is a pedophile. If you remember in the Big Lebowski film, there was actually a scene where Walter's kind of explaining, Jesus' background to the dude, and he talks about, how he was convicted, and when he was let out, he had to go and tell all of his neighbors about his conviction, and it actually cut to like a scene of, the character going up and like ringing a doorbell and, being forced to tell people about this crime of his. And, it was kind of meant to be almost like a jokey type thing, and it was a weird aspect to the character, but that's what it was. He was a pedophile. And I kind of question the wisdom of having your main character be a pedophile. Now, obviously, they can kind of retcon this if they wanted to, in the sense that that story in The Big Lebowski was told from Walter's point of view. So Walter, being the character that he was in that movie, might have mischaracterized the Jesus in some way, shape, or form. But this idea that you basically have a character who's a pedophile as your main, hero in the movie is a little bit disconcerting, especially with everything that's going on in the news right now with, Jeffrey Epstein and this kind of weird push to normalize pedophilia and stuff like that seems to be happening on social networks. It's a strange decision to me. Like, I understand that the character of the Jesus is funny, and he's one of the more memorable characters from The Big Lebowski. But just the fact that you kind of have this stigma attached to that character, it's kind of a weird decision to make him the main version or the main character of this movie. Because, I mean, that's it could be argued that that's a way of kind of trying to normalize pedophilia in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to get too kind of deep into the woods on this, but it's something that I feel is disconcerting, and it could turn a lot of people off. Now, obviously, you have to know the background of The Big Lebowski to understand that, this character was a convicted pedophile. But for a lot of people who don't know that, they might just see the trailers for this movie and be like, yeah, okay, it looks like, a Big Lebowski spinoff or whatever. But it is an odd choice, in my opinion. Now, the second thing that kind of bothers me about this is that the Coen brothers don't really have any involvement in the movie whatsoever. And I do think that Turturro is a talented actor, and I've recently watched a TV series that he produced, which was based off of one of my all-time favorite movies and books called The Name of the Rose. And so I do think that he has some talent behind the scenes as well. So like as a director, as a writer, as a producer, I believe John Turturro, definitely has some chops to him. But he is not on the same level as someone like the Coen brothers. I think that the Coen brothers have a distinct and unique voice, and the reason their movies work so well is because of that distinct and unique voice. And basically what this is going to come down to is whether or not Turturro is going to kind of mimic the Coen brothers and try to copy that voice, or if he's going to do his own thing, and whether or not his voice will work for this character and, as a spinoff to a movie that has already kind of established the same tone and story and stuff like that. So that is concerning as well. And the third big thing is that there's a little bit of a hint that this is going to be somewhat of a quote-unquote woke film with this this quote from Turturro here where it says, "It feels like a good time to release a transgressive film about the stupidity of men who try and fail and try better to understand and penetrate the mystery of women." Now, we've seen this big kind of trend in Hollywood lately of I guess you'd call it third wave feminism, in the sense that there's this big push to kind of elevate women at the expense of men, making men look dumb or inadequate or, kind of bullyish or evil or what have you. And it's been affecting audiences and it's been affecting movies lately. And Hollywood being Hollywood, in that kind of liberal bubble over there, they don't see a problem with kind of, vilifying men for the sake of kind of, exalting women. And the statement by Turturro kind of reflects that to me. It sounds like this movie, a lot of its comedy is probably going to be at the expense of the Jesus character, and it's going to make him seem like a complete idiot, and it's going to make all men, by extension, seem like a complete idiot. And it's worrisome to me because I feel like you can get that same message across, exalting women, empowering women, stuff like that, without denigrating men. And I believe that's the correct way to do it when it comes to writing and directing and producing a movie, or just telling a story, in the sense that you don't want to basically insult half your audience, If you have a message that you want to communicate, then try and be even-handed about it and fair-minded and, basically just, try not to insult people while you're doing it. Because you got to remember, when you're making a movie for an audience, and a great deal of the people who love The Big Lebowski are men. So these are the three things that really kind of worry me is that, the main character is a pedophile, the Coen brothers are not involved, and it looks like there's going to be some woke stuff in this film. Now, I could be completely wrong, okay? They may be able to pull this off. They may be able to retcon the character. Turturro might be able to capture the magic of the Big Lebowski, and, it might not be as woke as I fear it's going to be. It could actually just be like a very cleverly written comedy. That's all up in the air right now, but it is kind of concerning. Now, will I see this movie? Heck yeah. I will see it because I love the Big Lebowski. I thought the character of the Jesus was very interesting and funny. And I'll be interested to see how they handle it. Now, is there going to be any backlash to this film? Are you going to see people on the social medias crusading against it? Like, remember when James Gunn made all those off-color jokes about pedophilia, and there was this huge outrage, and he eventually got fired by Disney and kind of took a hiatus from Twitter. Is anybody going to be upset about a main character of a film being a pedophile? And how is this movie going to handle that? That's a question that I will be interested to see the answer to. So yeah, I hope this movie is good. I hope it turns out to be a big nothing burger in terms of the controversy, but it is a little bit disconcerting to see this type of stuff coming out into the mainstream. But I mean, who knows? Maybe this will be a straight-to-video thing that just kind of goes unnoticed, and nobody really gives a crap about it because the Coen brothers aren't involved. It's not really an official sequel, and it's just kind of John Turturro doing a vanity project. So we'll see. But what do you guys think about this? Are you worried about the three things I talked about? Do you think that this is normalizing pedophilia? Are you concerned that it's just not going to be a good follow-up to The Big Lebowski? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis. This is Matthew Kadish, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.